Hello, English learners, and welcome to today's podcast. If you're here, it means you're ready to take your English learning to the next level. Whether you're just starting out or looking to sharpen your skills, you've come to the right place.
That's right. Through this channel, you can practice and improve your English with our engaging conversations, helpful tips, and practical strategies. We're all about making learning fun and effective, so get ready to feel more confident with every episode.
Today, we're diving into something super important: how to practice English with your family and friends. We'll share tips, tricks, and techniques that you can start using right away. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be pumped to practice even more.
So stick around until the end, because we're going to make sure you feel ready to practice confidently, overcome any fears, and have fun while doing it. Let's get started.
Let's start by addressing one of the biggest obstacles that holds people back from speaking English: fear. Specifically, the fear of making mistakes. I bet many of you listening right now can relate. You hesitate to speak up because you don't want to sound foolish, especially in front of your family or friends.
I get it. I remember that feeling. Every time I wanted to say something in English, I'd freeze up. It's like this voice in your head says, "What if I mess up? What if they laugh? What if I never get better?" But let me ask you this. How long are you going to let that fear control you?
Exactly. Think about it. Every time you stay silent, that fear wins. And the truth is, if you're afraid of making mistakes, you're avoiding the very thing that helps you improve. Making mistakes is not just part of the process, it's the key to learning.
That's right. Every mistake you make is a lesson in disguise. But here's where it gets exciting. Once you shift your mindset and embrace those mistakes, they stop being something to fear and start becoming stepping stones toward your fluency.
So here's the question you need to ask yourself: what's scarier? Making a mistake in front of people who love and support you, or staying stuck, afraid to speak, and never reaching your goals?
Exactly. Picture this. A month from now, you're speaking more confidently because you pushed through that fear today. The mistakes you're afraid of now will soon become moments of growth you'll be proud of.
Let's be real for a second. Your family or friends might smile or correct you when you slip up, but think about their intentions. They're not laughing at you. They're there to help. And even if they do find it funny, it's because they see your effort. They're probably just impressed that you're trying to learn something new.
Here's a powerful way to overcome that fear. Tell your family or friends in advance that you want to make mistakes. Say, "Hey, I'm going to mess up a lot, but I'm doing this to get better." When you own it, you take control of the situation, and suddenly the fear loses its power.
Exactly. Flip the narrative. Turn your mistakes into badges of progress. Instead of feeling embarrassed, feel proud that you're brave enough to make them. And when you start seeing them as opportunities, not failures, you'll realize that every time you mess up, you're one step closer to fluency.
Here's something you can try right now. Start practicing by purposely making small mistakes. Say a sentence in English to your family and then laugh about it. This takes away the seriousness and pressure. You'll start to realize that making mistakes isn't as scary as you thought.
Now that we've tackled the fear of making mistakes, let's move to the next big step: creating the perfect practice environment at home. Believe me, this is one of the most effective ways to improve your English. And the best part? You don't need a classroom or a tutor.
Exactly! Your home is a goldmine for language practice, but most people overlook it because they think it's too casual or they don't know how to make the most of it. But let's be real. When you're learning in a comfortable place, like your living room, surrounded by people you trust, your progress can skyrocket.
Think about it. Every conversation you have at home, every moment with your family, can be transformed into a learning opportunity. The secret is setting up your environment in a way that encourages English practice, without it feeling forced or awkward.
That's right. If you're not using your daily interactions to practice, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. And the truth is, the more English becomes part of your home life, the faster it'll feel natural to you. But the question is, how do you actually make that happen?
Let's start with the basics. The first thing you need is to involve your family. Tell them that you want to practice English and ask for their help. This alone creates accountability and encouragement. Whether it's during meals, watching TV, or just chatting, let them know you'd love to practice speaking with them.
Yes. Start small. You don't have to dive into deep conversations right away. You can begin by setting aside 10 or 15 minutes a day where everyone speaks only English. It could be at the dinner table or when you're relaxing together. Little by little, it will become more comfortable for everyone.
And here's where it gets fun. You can make English practice something everyone enjoys. For example, you can create a Word of the Day challenge where each family member learns a new English word and uses it in a sentence. You can even turn it into a competition. Whoever uses it the most during the day wins a small prize.
I love that. Another great idea is to play English language games together. Games like Scrabble, word association, or even watching a movie in English with subtitles can boost your skills without it feeling like study time. And the best part? You're learning while having fun with the people you care about.
Exactly. You can turn any family activity into an English lesson. For example, if you're cooking together, practice naming ingredients in English. If you're doing chores, talk about the tasks in English. The key is to make it a habit, so it becomes a natural part of your daily life.
And don't forget about music and TV shows. Watch English language shows with your family, or listen to English songs and discuss the lyrics together. These are low-pressure ways to immerse yourself in the language without it feeling like homework. You'll be surprised how quickly you pick up new words and phrases.
Let's say you're afraid your family won't cooperate or might not be that enthusiastic. Here's how you can make it work. Lead by example. When they see you trying, they'll naturally join in. Remember, they're your biggest supporters, and they'll likely be excited to help you succeed. Start small and grow from there.
Absolutely. And here's a powerful tip. Designate an English zone in your home. It could be a specific room, or even just a corner where the rule is simple. Only English is spoken there. It could be the kitchen, the living room, or anywhere you feel comfortable. Having a space where you're expected to speak English helps your mind switch gears.
Imagine how much progress you'll make if every day you dedicate time to speaking in English with your family, in your home. You're surrounding yourself with the language in the most supportive way possible. That comfort zone you're building will soon be the foundation of your fluency.
And here's something you might not realize. When your family practices with you, they're learning too. It's a win-win. Maybe they're not as serious about learning English as you are, but by supporting you, they're improving their own skills, even if it's just a little bit.
So don't wait for the perfect time or environment. Create it at home. Take charge and turn every conversation into a chance to get better. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be consistent.
Right. The sooner you start, the sooner you'll see results. So why not begin today? Talk to your family, set up that practice environment, and watch your English grow faster than ever. You've got this.
Now that you've got your practice environment set up, let's make it even more fun. Learning a new language doesn't have to be boring or stressful. In fact, one of the best ways to practice English at home with your family is through games. Trust me, these games will not only improve your English, but also make everyone excited to play along.
Absolutely. Games are an amazing way to remove the pressure of learning. You're focused on having fun, but at the same time, you're building your vocabulary, practicing sentence structure, and improving your fluency. And the best part? Your family gets involved, and it becomes a shared experience.
So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to share some simple, yet super effective language games that you can play with your family. These games are perfect for any level, whether you're just starting out or already have some English under your belt. Let's dive into it.
Let's kick it off with a classic, word association. This game is a great way to expand your vocabulary and think quickly in English. The rules are simple. Someone says a word, and the next person has to say a word related to it within 3 seconds. If they hesitate or say something unrelated, they're out for that round.
For example, if I say apple, you might say fruit. Then the next person could say banana, and so on. It's fast-paced, fun, and keeps everyone on their toes. Plus, it forces you to think in English without overanalyzing, which is key to building fluency.
This game is great because it builds up your word bank and pushes you to respond quickly, just like in real conversations. And the more you play, the better you get. So, play a few rounds with your family and see how fast you can go without repeating words or getting stuck.
Here's another one that's simple but brilliant for practicing English. 20 questions. One person thinks of an object, place, or person, and the rest of the family has to guess what it is by asking only yes or no questions. You get 20 questions to figure it out.
This game is amazing for practicing question formation and logical thinking. It forces you to construct sentences correctly and be creative with your questions. For example, if I'm thinking of a dog, you might ask, "Is it an animal?" I'd say yes, and then you'd narrow it down from there.
It's so fun because it gets competitive and everyone gets engaged trying to guess. Plus, you're practicing conversation skills without even realizing it. And trust me, after a few rounds, you'll be asking clearer, more accurate questions.
Now, let's add some creativity into the mix. One of my favorite games is Describe and Draw. Here's how it works. One person describes a picture or object in English without showing it to the others, and the rest of the family has to draw it based on the description.
This game is hilarious. Imagine describing something like a spaceship, and the drawings end up looking like anything but a spaceship. It's a great way to practice giving detailed descriptions and understanding spoken English. Plus, it's a fun bonding experience because you'll laugh a lot when you see the results.
You can make it competitive or just keep it lighthearted. It doesn't matter if the drawings are perfect. What matters is that you're practicing your speaking and listening skills. And you'll notice that over time, your descriptions will get clearer, and your family will understand you better.
Game 4. Story Relay. Let's get creative with our next game, Story Relay. This is perfect for building storytelling skills and improving sentence structure. One person starts a story with one sentence, and then each person adds their own sentence to continue the story. The goal is to create a funny or interesting story as a team.
Yes! You can start with something simple, like, "Once upon a time, there was a cat that loved to travel." Then the next person might say, "The cat bought a ticket to Paris but missed the flight." And it keeps going from there. It's unpredictable, hilarious, and helps you think creatively in English.
The great thing about Story Relay is that you're practicing sentence building, but in a way that doesn't feel like work. You're focusing on making the story interesting, which distracts you from worrying about grammar too much. And before you know it, you're speaking more fluently.
Game 5. The Accent Challenge. Last but not least, we've got a fun one, the Accent Challenge. In this game, you pick a region, like the UK or the USA, and try to mimic the English accent from that area while speaking a few sentences. It's both hilarious and a great way to practice pronunciation.
Exactly. It's a light-hearted game where no one expects perfection. You might sound like a British actor or a cowboy from Texas. It doesn't matter. The goal is to have fun with English and get used to how different accents sound. Plus, it challenges you to focus on pronunciation and tone.
Trust me, it'll have everyone laughing, but also learning. You'll find yourself paying more attention to how words sound and how people from different regions speak English. It's a fantastic way to work on your listening skills and speaking clarity.
So there you have it. 5 fun and engaging games you can play with your family to practice English. They're simple, they're effective, and most importantly, they're fun. Whether it's word association, 20 questions, or even the accent challenge, these games turn learning into something exciting.
And the best part? You're not just improving your own skills. You're involving your family, strengthening your bonds, and turning English practice into something everyone can enjoy. So what are you waiting for? Try one of these games tonight and watch how fast your English improves.
Remember, learning doesn't have to be serious all the time. When you make it fun, you make it stick. So get your family together and start playing. You'll be surprised at how quickly everyone starts speaking more confidently. Now that you've mastered practicing with your family, let's talk about another powerful resource you might be overlooking: your friends. Practicing English with friends can be one of the most fun and effective ways to improve your language skills, but it's also where people get stuck. Why? Because there's a lot of fear about sounding awkward or making mistakes in front of them.
Exactly, and that fear can hold you back. But here's the thing: your friends are probably feeling the same way. Everyone's a bit nervous about speaking a second language at first, but once you break that ice, it can lead to some of the best language learning experiences you'll ever have.
And think about it. Your friends are people you trust. You laugh together, joke around, and support each other. That's the perfect environment to take risks in your English. Remember, you're not just having a language lesson, you're having a conversation with people who already like you. The pressure's off.
Plus, it's a win-win. They help you improve, and you help them in return. And the best part? You don't have to sit down and say, "Okay, let's study English." Instead, you can slip English into your normal conversations, and it won't even feel like practice.
So, how do you make that happen? Here's the first step. Start with simple conversations. Don't aim for perfection. Just aim for consistency. Maybe the next time you meet your friend for coffee or hang out after school or work, suggest having a chat in English for a few minutes.
And here's where it gets interesting. Pick topics you already love talking about. If you're both into sports, movies, fashion, or gaming, start there. Talking about things you're passionate about makes it easier to forget you're even speaking in a second language. You'll find yourself more focused on expressing your excitement than worrying about grammar.
Tip 1. Setting a fun challenge together. One of the best ways to stay motivated is by creating a challenge. Talk to your friend and set a goal together. Maybe it's speaking in English for 10 minutes every time you meet, or texting each other in English for a whole day. It makes learning feel more like a game than a task.
Yes, you could even make it competitive. Whoever makes the most mistakes has to buy coffee next time. Or, if you're feeling generous, whoever improves the most gets a fun reward, like treating the other to a movie night or lunch. Friendly competition can push you to practice without realizing it.
And don't forget, every small success counts. Even if you only manage a few sentences in English before switching back, that's progress. You're breaking down the mental block that English is only for formal situations or study time.
Tip 2. Focus on casual conversations. The key to practicing with friends is keeping it casual. You're not in a classroom, so don't treat it like one. Talk about things that matter to both of you. It could be your weekend plans, a show you're both binge-watching, or even just gossiping, whatever you'd normally talk about. But do it in English.
For example, instead of saying, "Let's talk in English for practice," you could just casually start speaking English in the middle of your usual chat. It catches them by surprise, and before you know it, you're both speaking English naturally.
That's right. The more you do it, the more it becomes a habit. It doesn't have to be perfect English. What matters is that you're thinking and speaking in the language. And if you don't know a word, that's okay. Just keep going or ask your friend for help. You're in this together.
Tip 3. The power of role-playing. Here's a fun one. Role-playing. Imagine you're in a situation where you need to speak English, like ordering food at a restaurant, giving directions, or booking a hotel. Act it out with your friend. You get to practice real-life conversations in a safe space, and it's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you can get as creative as you want. Pretend one of you is a tourist, and the other is giving them advice. Or one person could be a celebrity, and the other is interviewing them in English. The crazier the scenario, the more you'll laugh and learn.
The beauty of role-playing is that it puts you in situations where you might feel nervous in real life, but because it's with a friend, the pressure is off. You're learning how to handle these scenarios, so when they happen for real, you'll be ready.
Plus, it's a great way to work on vocabulary for specific situations. If you know you're traveling soon, role-play conversations you might have at the airport or hotel. It's like rehearsing for the big moment. And by the time you get there, you'll feel so much more confident.
Tip 4. Watch movies or shows together. Here's a fun one. Watching English language movies or shows with your friends. But here's the catch. Do it with English subtitles on. That way, you're not just hearing the language, but reading along as well. Then, after watching, talk about the movie in English. What did you think of the plot, the characters, the ending?
This is such an easy way to practice, because it doesn't feel like practice. You're just enjoying a movie, but at the same time, you're picking up new words, phrases, and expressions. And when you talk about it afterward, you're cementing those new words in your memory.
And if you don't understand something during the movie, pause it and figure it out together. It's a relaxed, no-pressure way to learn, and because it's visual, you're more likely to remember it. Plus, it gives you and your friends something to bond over.
Exactly. And if you're binge-watching a series, make it a routine. Every time a new episode drops, watch it together and talk about it in English. You'll get into the habit of discussing your favorite shows in a new language, and it won't feel like work at all.
And there you have it. Practicing English with friends and family is not only effective, but also a fun and social way to improve your skills.
Remember, the more you practice, the more confident you'll become. Whether it's casual conversations, playing games, or role-playing scenarios, consistency is key.
So start using these techniques with your friends today. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more tips on improving your English.
We're here to help you on your journey to fluency, so keep practicing, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and keep speaking English confidently.